Hey everybody, this is Justin Miller, and I'm with my neighbor, Alex Schofield, and he just returned from his mission. And I thought it'd be fun to do a conversation with him and share with you all a little bit about his mission. So Alex, tell us where you just came back from and what it's like.
So I was in the England Birmingham mission. So it's like the southwest part of England and then also Wales. And yeah, it's really cool over there. I spent 8 months on my mission before I had to come home because of the coronavirus. But yeah, I got to serve in like 3 different places, and I absolutely loved it in England. It's just so cool.
So was it like cities or was it like countryside? Like paint the picture of like what it looked like.
Yeah, so my mission, it covers like a pretty wide variety of like different places. So like the first area I was in was called Yeovil, and it's like a really big area. So there was a lot of countryside there, and it was like typical farm towns and English villages and stuff like that, which was really cool to start out. Sort of just like your picture of like a South England town. And then the second place I was in was Bristol, and I was right in the city. So it was just like complete opposites. So I went from a small town where there wasn't a lot of people like out on the streets to talk to like a big city where I could go out on the streets and talk to people all day if I wanted to. And I just like my mission just had so many different places like that you could go to. You could be in the smallest farm towns or the big cities or like towns on the coast or anything. So it was really cool. I got to serve in a small town and a big town. Or big
That's
city.
cool. So you kind of got the diversity of the landscape.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part about being in that area of where you served your mission?
I really loved the people. I thought they were absolutely hilarious because the English people are just super blunt and they tell you how it is, and they like some people, they just really want nothing to do with you, but when they do like actually want to talk to you, they're really genuine and they're really cool. And I had a really good time just meeting all the different types of people. I thought I had a bunch of really funny conversations and bunch of really cool and spiritual conversations too.
That's good. I'm going to ask about that here in a minute. What was missionary life like for you? Like, what were your days like? How did you talk to people? How did you meet them? All that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, like, I guess we didn't really teach people as much like as I would have loved to, just because it was harder to find teaching appointments. So like our typical days, we usually had around like, I would say like between 3 and like 5 lessons a week. So like most days you would have a lesson, but some days you wouldn't. And like those lessons are only ever like 30 minutes to an hour. So the rest of the day we street contacted a lot. So just went on the streets and talked to people that way. I liked doing that better than knocking doors. So I street contacted a ton on my mission. And then like in the evenings, we'd usually try and set something up with a member. So we could like teach a member or teach a returning member who had been to church less recently. And that was usually how it went. Tried to have one lesson like during the day, street contacted during the day as well. And then once it got dark and there was less people out in the streets, doing some visits to members or returning members.
Cool. So talk about the wards. I guess my question is about the wards or branches. Was it wards or branches?
I served in all wards. It's mostly wards in my mission. But yeah, my first one was like 100 people, so it was pretty good sized. And then my second ward and my third ward were both around 50 or 60 people. So a little bit smaller in those ones. But yeah, they're all really cool people. A lot of times like there's like multiple families that are all related in one ward, which I thought was pretty cool, just seeing those connections. But yeah, I really liked like especially the first ward I was in, since it was like that was when I was in like the farm town, and it was a bunch of families, and that ward really felt like they cared about each other, and even though wasn't the biggest, they really cared about each other and tried to help as much as they can.
How did they help? Like, what was their role in the missionary work there?
We usually, what they would do is just come like on lessons with us when we were teaching people. I wouldn't say they usually helped further than that. Like, I never really had, we would like work with people to try and maybe get like people to teach from them, like their friends to teach, but I never ended up actually getting the opportunity to do that. So I would say like the main way they helped was just like being willing to come on lessons with us to the people we already found and taught.
Did you find that to be helpful?
Yeah, it's definitely helpful when a member's teaching with you, because they can see that not everyone in the church is just some missionary that does it all the time, that there's just normal regular guys, especially when it's like, someone like that's like them, and they can see that it's like not just an American church, because a lot of people think that over there. And you find a lot more success and find people a lot more willing to come to church when a member is involved in the teaching.
That's good for everybody to hear. Let's see. Can you tell us about some of the families you got close to, or maybe some of the people you were able to teach?
Yeah, I had the talk that was sent out today, but the closest,
a lot of people liked it, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that guy David was probably the closest guy I got to on my mission teaching wise, because I really didn't have much, like, I didn't have a lot of people I taught that really I saw progress. Like, I had people come to church, but then sort of just fall to the wayside and stop meeting with us. But David was one where I really saw a change in him, and he really was. It was really cool seeing someone being like thankful for what you're doing, because a lot of times just people on the street like never want to meet up with you. So it was really cool meeting David and knowing that like what we did actually helped him a lot. And like it was really cool, even because like his wife was super against the church when we first started meeting with him, and then eventually she started like actually sitting in on the lessons and coming to church activities and stuff like that. And it was just so cool seeing that change.
That's awesome. Yeah, sometimes you get there and you realize you're here for one person, and maybe that's your one person. Mm-hmm. How do you feel like your testimony changed from being a missionary?
Yeah, my testimony grew like so much on my mission. I didn't even realize it could grow that much, to be honest. I just like, because when you're forced to talk about it and preach about it all day, like it really makes you think more and more about it. And it was just so cool as I dedicated all my time to it, I could really recognize how many things in my life were truly of the Lord, and that I wasn't doing this all alone, because if I was doing that all alone, I think that would be like a horrible 8 months, just going out and not having like Jesus Christ help in my life. And I just really saw my testimony grow, where I knew on my own, without like the help of my parents' testimonies or any of the people around me's testimonies, that I just truly knew it was all true by myself. And it really helps, because I know I can rely on that for the rest of my life now.
That's awesome. Well, that's really cool. And thanks for sharing that. Okay, here's my last question. And this may be a little bit more tricky because it's probably more on the spot. But what is this? Is there a spiritual experience that you feel comfortable to share that you will remember forever? Like, we every missionary has funny things they remember, but really aren't the best to share. Is there something you can share that's kind of spiritually uplifting, that is something you'll remember forever?
Yeah, let me just think. I remember like one thing that just felt that was just an amazing experience was just like when my mission did some like sort of challenge to like read the Book of Mormon in a certain amount of like days or whatever it was. And I remember after finishing the Book of Mormon, it was the first time I finished it on my mission. And I just remember that I had been thinking a lot about how I can help others come to know that the Book of Mormon is true. And when I just really felt that I had to pray immediately after finishing it. And when I went and prayed, it was just probably the strongest I had ever felt the Spirit in my life, just telling me that it was true and that that it was just an overwhelming sense of peace. And a lot of times I've turned back to that experience when I was telling people about the Book of Mormon, just because I remember how strong I felt the Spirit right then, just knowing that, like, because some people will say like on the street, like that the feelings you get or that peace is just all in like your head. And I remember when like that happened, I knew without a doubt it couldn't be me that was making me feel peace that strongly.
That's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's a great experience to share. I think that's the end of my questions. So I'm going to turn the recording off real fast.
Sounds good.
But thank you for joining us for this brief conversation. I'm sure that other members will love.
Of course. Thank you.